Hey now, ladies and gentlemen. Hey now. Hey now. Hey now. Hey now. Hey now. And hey. Now. Welcome to hour number 3 of the Line Talk 99.5, talk995.com, Mclain, and on YouTube, Real Talk 99.5 TV. If you want to watch us live, that's the way to do it. You can see myself and John Bird, who which is rare. This happens on no other show, but John Bird stays on camera for the entirety of the show.
Yeah, just sitting there in the corner, just loving life.
Most producers don't do that. On the morning show, it'd be kind of hard to do because you already got 2 people on.
Mm-hmm.
But AJ doesn't. He doesn't pop on camera a whole lot. He does from time to time, but
I mean, I don't have to. Let me turn it off. Well, it won't turn off.
okay, we'll just leave it. It's fine.
No, I mean, I didn't mean to upset you. I thought it was okay.
No, it is. It is okay.
No,
I'm not upset.
Are you sure?
Yes.
I don't want to be angry with you.
It's fine. I promise.
Okay.
You're good. You're good.
Okay.
Coming up here in mere moments, I guess. What do you think? 12:30. We start taking suggestions for John Bird Plays the Guitar.
Yeah.
Are you going to attempt to do that on Tuesday? No. It's John Bird Pick'em on Tuesday.
John Bird Pick'em on Tuesday.
So we're going to take suggestions for a week from next Friday.
Yeah.
2 weeks from tomorrow.
Yes, 2 weeks from tomorrow.
Yeah. Okay. So we're going to take suggestions on that, and we'll do that. So let's say 12:30. We go for that.
Okay. Sounds good.
You like that? You like that? All right. So I was talking about, the global war, the war on the global economy, should I say, by Iran. It's kind of their last ditch effort in a show of strength on their part. They're talking a lot of smack. They released a statement from the new supreme leader, although we didn't hear his voice or see his face. Let's see. Statement from new supreme leader. Let me see if I can actually find the statement. I haven't seen it myself. But it says that CNN aired the first public statement by Iran's new supreme leader as broadcast on Iranian state TV for 4 straight minutes. So when CNN isn't lying about ISIS-inspired Muslim attacks in New York City, they're shilling for the Islamic regime attacks. Let's see. Trying to find Iran's new supreme leader issues a fresh statement broadcast on Iranian state TV. One of the things he said was all U.S. bases should immediately be closed in the region, and those bases will be attacked. That was just one of the statements. I'm trying to see if I can find a larger portion of the statement. I haven't actually read it yet. The lengthy message was read out on Iranian state TV by an anchor as an image of Khamenei was displayed on the screen. No explanation was provided for why the 56-year-old did not appear or read out his purported words. Quote, I assure everyone that we will not refrain from avenging the blood of our martyrs. The retaliation we have in mind is not limited only to the martyrdom of the great leader of the revolution, Ali Khamenei. Rather, every member of the nation who is martyred by the enemy constitutes a separate case in the file of revenge, he says. He says, our sincere thanks go to our brave fighters who, at a time when our nation and beloved homeland have been unjustly attacked by the leaders of the front of arrogance, have blocked the enemy's path with their powerful blows and dispelled their illusion of being able to dominate our beloved country or possibly divide it, he added. He says he noted avenging those killed in the strike on the elementary school building, said Iran would obtain compensation from its enemy, meaning the U.S. and Israel. Quote, if it refuses, we will take from its assets to the extent we deem appropriate. And if that is not possible, we will destroy its assets to the same extent.
Blah, 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 blah.
He also said that Iran would continue to attack its Gulf Arab neighbors, though he insisted Tehran was only targeting U.S. military bases. Quote, the lever of closing the Strait of Hormuz must certainly continue to be used as well. Studies have also been conducted on opening other fronts in which the enemy has little experience and would be highly vulnerable. Their activation will take place if the wartime it says if the wartime situation continues and in accordance with considerations of expediency. The statement came after an Iranian source claimed to the Sun that Khamenei was actually in a coma and undergoing intensive care at the Sina University Hospital in Tehran. Wow. So there was a report to the Sun that, quote, one or two of his legs have been cut off. His liver or stomach also ruptured. He is apparently in a coma as well.
Then they don't have a leader.
And that's not a statement from him if that report's accurate. Other Iranian sources insisted Khamenei had only suffered minor injuries, including a fractured foot, a bruised eye, and face lacerations during the initial wave of airstrikes, and was sheltering inside a highly secure location. Khamenei, meanwhile, acknowledged the death of his father in Thursday's statement, signaling he was present in the aftermath of the attack and saw his father's body. The new Ayatollah also confirmed that his wife, one of his sisters, his niece, and the husband of his other sister died in the airstrike as well. He said, quote, I had the honor of seeing his body after his martyrdom. What I saw was a mountain of steadfastness, and I was told that the fist of his intact hand hadn't been clenched. Interesting. So he's like, yeah, I saw my dad's dead body. It was cool. Because he's a martyr. Well,
stupid.
That's fascinating, though. So there's reports that this guy's pretty much on life support. And then Iranian reports are like, nah, he just twisted his ankle. Playing basketball or something. And he's got a couple cuts on his face. So, if in fact, so you got two scenarios here. Either he is alive, conscious, and perfectly fine and putting out this statement, or he's pretty much dead. If the latter is true, then there is no leadership, as you note, and there is going to be no sort of coming together and coming up with an effective or at least seemingly effective game plan for the Iranians. So it was already throwing darts at the wall blindfolded by picking Khamenei Jr. to be the new supreme leader anyway, because most people thought, hey, this guy is not cut out for this position. Even his father and the people around the previous Ayatollah understood that, and they kept him at arm's length. But if they've put him in that position, knowing that he's in such bad shape in the hospital, that shows you the level of desperation that they're at in the sense of trying to, piece together whatever they can to put off the perception that they're doing okay. But they're not. The only thing they've got, again, going back to this global war on the global economy, is the oil stuff, is the Strait of Hormuz. Now, Donald Trump has ordered 172 million barrels of oil be released from the Strategic Petroleum Reserve to level out these gas prices, which is one of the largest in American history. He said that's going to start next week and will take approximately 120 days to complete. That was actually according to Christopher Wright, who's the energy secretary. Coordinated move comes after 32 member nations of the International Energy Agency unanimously backed Trump's request for a massive 400 million barrel global release to stabilize markets and protect American drivers and families. Chris Wright released the following statement underscoring Trump's ironclad commitment to American energy security. He said, quote, earlier today, 32 member nations of the International Energy Agency unanimously agreed to President Trump's request to lower energy prices with a coordinated release of 400 million barrels of oil and refined products from their respective reserves. As part of this effort, Trump authorized the Department of Energy to release 172 million barrels from the Strategic Petroleum Reserve beginning next week. This will take 120 days to deliver based on planned discharge rates. President Trump promised to protect America's energy security by managing the Strategic Petroleum Reserve responsibly, and this action demonstrates his commitment to that promise. Unlike the previous administration, which left America's oil reserves drained and damaged, the United States has arranged to more than replace these strategic reserves with approximately 200 million barrels within the next year, 20% more barrels than will be drawn out and at no cost to the taxpayer. For 47 years, Iran and its terrorist proxies have been intent on killing Americans. They've manipulated and threatened the energy security of America and its allies. Under President Trump, those days are coming to an end. Rest assured, America's energy security is as strong as ever. And I agree with that. And you'll hear arguments on CNN or MSNBC or from liberals that were like, well, when Joe Biden did it, everybody was angry. That's because Joe Biden was implementing policies to destroy the oil industry. And then once prices were going up and it was hurting him and Democrats politically, they then drained the strategic oil reserves with no plans of refilling them. And when they did refill them, they did it where the gas prices, the oil prices were at a high. Maybe not an all time high, but they were way higher than they should be. When you fill the strategic oil reserves, you want to do it while oil is low, while it's cheap. Fill it up while it's cheap, and that doesn't cost the American taxpayers that much. But when you do it when the oil is more expensive, it's obviously a bigger problem. I mean, on day one of Joe Biden's administration, what did he do? He started shutting down pipelines. I will never forget, in the wake of being so frustrated with the stolen election of 2020, on day one, this was like 2 or 3 days after Joe Biden gets inaugurated, we're seeing press conferences at oil fields with oil workers talking about how they were just told that they've been fired because Joe Biden immediately went to the White House and signed executive orders to end these pipelines. What was it? The Keystone Pipeline ended the pipeline, throwing countless people out of jobs, putting countless men and women out of work that they were using to provide for their families, where they were away from their families for months on end to make money and provide for their wife and their kids and everything else. Just wiped it all out, wiped all those jobs out. I think back to Obama did the same thing with coal. I was watching, going back to the documentary, John Bird, The Wrestlers. They were doing a show in this rundown Kentucky town. There was a big coal mining town. And they were just looking at the landscape and how it had been decimated by the Obama administration because all of those people lived and survived off the coal industry. And once they wiped that out, people started moving out, and the place, which was once thriving, where there was no vacant buildings, there were stores and shops and everything. It was like a ghost town because the Democrats ruined those industries and destroyed entire communities because of it, and then ravaged them with prescription pills and everything else on top of that. And I just I don't think the average American understands how devastating some of those energy policies have been. Thank God we've got a president and an administration that understand how important America's energy security is. We had a shooter at I believe at a university this morning, and I cannot remember for the life of me which university that was. I'll have to look it up real quick. But we do have another active. Well, in the first one this morning, the gunman was killed, and I don't know of any other fatalities outside of that. But now in West Bloomfield Township, Michigan, there is an active shooter alert at a synagogue, and so that's going on as we speak. Now, this is a different topic when it comes to the war in Iran. There are sleeper cells in this country going back to the Biden administration and the open borders policy that destroyed this country on top of their energy policy. We're going to be seeing more and more of that. So that's going on right now. I'm trying to judge 'cause there's a lot of law enforcement presence. There's a big law enforcement presence there right
What's
now.
going on?
I'm judging by um the body language of the officers there. I really only see one that's kind of walking up the street. Doesn't seem to be in a big rush. So that gives me an indication that maybe the threat has been neutralized, but I don't know. Again, this is just now happening. So as I get more information on that, I'll bring it to you. Bubba Rumble's on the line. Bubba, what's up, buddy?
Hey now, nation in the house. Whoop whoop.
Whoop whoop.
Today's episode of The Line is brought to you by Phlegm.
Flim.
You need to get on Jay Bizzle's home remedy, dude. He's got it figured out, man.
I keep asking him to bring it, and he won't do it. I bring
Don't
him
hide it, divide it, dog.
I bring him meatloaf. I bring him food. What I bring you?
All right, I'll bring it tomorrow.
What was that last bout of food that I brought you last time? What was it? Was it burgers? Yeah, I brought you a barbecue burger. Yeah.
Right.
Bring him food all the time. I cooked for him a couple weeks ago.
Okay, I've got it. I'll bring it if you'll take it.
Jay Bizzle. Andrew needs that Jay Bizzle juice ASAP.
I can't even get a shot of aloe vera juice out of this guy.
Right. All right, so I got to go back to yesterday with the cardboard Ayatollah cutout. That is laughable, dude. That looks like a season 1 South Park character.
They kind of did, didn't it?
It's straight up, dude. It looked like the Saddam Hussein character almost, bouncing around. And like for real, they're so janky and disheveled right now. They can't even afford to get a fat head made. A new Supreme Leader that replaced the one that just got blowed up last week. What's the deal?
It's like, I'm the new Supreme Leader. Come on, guy.
Come on, guy. So yeah, they're dealing with Big Daddy Trump, the master of the art of the deal here. If you're asking me, like, Iran's bargaining position is really weak. If that's the best they can do is to carry a cardboard effigy of their now wounded new leader out as some kind of show of strength or unity. Imagine if that's what we were doing here in America. Like, sorry, Donald Trump can't be here today, but here's a cardboard cutout for you to admire.
Right. Yeah, that would be terrifying to the rest of the world.
So I think we got them on the ropes already. And, of course, that's what they do over in that neck of the woods is bluff and blunder and blow smoke. They got complete media control within that country, so they can just say and do whatever they want. But in the meantime, I'm quite sure the damage that we have been told we have inflicted upon them is quite real. And I think we should just keep bombing them back to the Stone Ages, where all they got left for weapons is them shoes they like to throw at people.
Yeah, the old George W. special. Start throwing shoes at us.
What country was that? I can't remember. Some Durka did that, and I didn't hate it because I do not like George W.
Yeah, wasn't that in Iraq that happened?
It might have been.
Yeah.
I was just kind of bummed out that he missed, man,
I know. You gotta, as much of a douche as George W. is, he did pretty good at dodging the shoe.
He has some pretty good reflexes. Yeah. But that was pretty funny. But, like, the way I'm seeing it is, like, that war's already won there. The big threat is what you were just talking about, is all these sleeper cell Durkas that were allowed to pour into our country for 4 years straight, knowingly. They were intercepting people from all over terrorist countries and just kicking them off into America like, oh, they're only here to better themselves.
Yeah.
They're all over.
It seems that way.
But yeah, I don't think there's a big city in America that doesn't have some Durka terrorist cells in it at this point. So
Mm-mm.
hopefully we have some kind of domestic operation plan to clean them out too soon, because I don't like people throwing nail bombs in America.
No, absolutely not.
I don't. I'm
Uh,
out. Hey now.
hey now. Yeah, so the FBI actually put out a bulletin warning California police departments of possible surprise Iranian drone attacks that's out on the West Coast. Trump made some comments yesterday about how we know for the most part who these sleeper cells are and where they're at and that we got an eye on them. Hopefully that's true. I don't know if it is or not. But as far as what's happening in West Bloomfield Township, Michigan at this synagogue, again, seeing the body language of the officers on the scene, they're all kind of walking slowly and talking amongst each other. So I would dare say that the threat is neutralized. 205-545-9950. Getting more information on this active shooter situation. And we don't know if it is still an active shooter or if the shooter's dead or whatever. I tend to believe that maybe that is the case. But what we do know is that a car drove into this synagogue, and then after that happened, shots were heard. The silver lining is this is a K through 6 school, or maybe it's a K through 12. There's some sort of school in this synagogue, some sort of Jewish school, and according to their calendar, the school was not in session today, but they did have some sort of, I mean, there were people there. I think they had some sort of food bank thing going on or something of the sort. But that's the information we know. A car drove into the synagogue and then shots were fired. We're looking at a live shot of the building now, and there is smoke billowing from the top of the building and also through what is presumably one of the front doors where there is some sort of fire inside, may have been ignited from the vehicle ramming into the building, or could have been intentionally set by this person who is likely going to play out to be some sort of Islamic terrorist. So that's something we're unfortunately going to be seeing. They have told everybody at Jewish centers in the area to be on high alert, to go into their lockdown protocol. And honestly, at the end of the day, Jewish centers all across the country need to be on high alert, not just today, but in the days going forward, whether it's in West Bloomfield Township, Michigan, or it's right here in Birmingham, Alabama, because we want everyone to be safe, especially at this time. Those of our friends in the Jewish community to be extra safe because it's dangerous right now. It's just you're gonna have to keep your head on a swivel, and it's our again it's our reality right now. So that's what we got going on. TCW Construction, TCW, my friend Trent. And by friend, I mean he's my friend. I do consider Trent a friend, and I appreciate not only what he does for you guys, but what he's done for me. I mean, he's helped us out in the past as far as flattening some land in the backyard and helping us get our pool up. We still got some ideas we've got floating around about what we want Trent to do. It's outdoor construction is mainly what I'm talking about here. Retaining walls, seawalls, walkways, patios, different layouts with, maybe some sort of stone fireplace you got outside. It's just a bunch of different things. Driveway stuff. Anything, if it's outdoors and it's construction, Trent can get it handled for you. So the options are endless. If you've got an idea or something that you and the wife or you and the husband have been thinking about doing, now's the time to call Trent and go ahead and get a quote. Get a free quote from him. He'll come over to your place, scope it out, see what it is you want to do, and then go for it. If you know you want to do something but don't know exactly what it is, Trent is such a visionary that you could even get his advice on what he thinks would be best, and he'll pitch it to you. And you can see if that's something you like. Or maybe you get inspired from some of the ideas or some of the pictures that they have on the website. You can see some of his previous work, which is absolutely stunning. You're going to see some of these pictures and think they're AI because they look that good. But I assure you, all of the pictures on the website are 100% real. TCWConstructionCo.com. TCWConstructionCo.com is the website. 205-389-3536 is his number. It's 205-389-3536. Y'all hit him up. Make sure you tell him your boy Andrew Mclain sent ya. Yeah. So I was going to take suggestions for John Bird Plays the Guitar here in a couple weeks. I can let's do that at 1 o'clock, John Bird. How does that sound?
Yeah, I think that's better.
Let's do that at 1 o'clock. Let me move through a couple other headlines while I'm at it. With the threat of violence against not only just average Americans, but public officials, Trump's under constant threat, but also members of the administration like Pam Bondi, who has reportedly vacated her D.C. home and has moved into a fortified military base. There have been cartel threats linked to the Maduro capture that have caused enough concern with the DOJ that they have moved Pam Bondi and her family into a secure location. That's the kind of world we live in now. And it was crazy to me. I got to thinking, Pam Bondi, yeah, she goes from Florida Attorney General, probably living a nice life down there in Tallahassee and not having to worry about a whole lot other than just doing her job, to moving up to DC as the country's top cop. And with her faults, considering her faults, she has accomplished a good bit of she's accomplished some good things. I don't think, I mean, if you can't acknowledge that, you're being dishonest. With the capture of Maduro, which would have been under the Attorney General's leadership and the FBI's leadership, uh, she she is now under threat from the cartels, because what the Trump administration has done is they have severely disrupted what the cartels do, whether it's human trafficking across the border or the distribution and shipping and transporting of drugs, as we have blown up drug boats left and right, and captured Maduro, who was basically the head honcho, or at least calling the shots for Cartel of the Suns. There have been some major disruptions for the cartels, and they don't take kindly to that. They torture and kill people that disrupt their cash flow. And at this point, because it has been so disrupted, that Pam Bondi's probably at the top of the cartel's kill list. And that's crazy to think, but it's the reality when you go after the bad guys. I compare that to somebody like, I don't know, Merrick Garland or even Bill Barr, the former attorney, the last two attorney generals. All right. And I think about, what kind of threats did they deal with? Did they ever have to move out of their homes and move into a fortified military base because the bad guys were after them? Little smarmy, little squeaky voiced Merrick Garland. Do you think he was ever under threat? Or he was ever on a cartel kill list? Do you think Bill Barr was ever on a cartel kill list? Of course not. Because they weren't going after the bad guys. They were actually benefiting the bad guys. They were allowing these people to stay in business and make billions and billions of dollars. But doing the right thing puts your life at risk. Ask Donald Trump. He knows that better than anybody else. He's had multiple attempts on his life because he's out here doing what? Doing the right thing. Doing the right thing by the American people, trying to keep people safe. This report comes from, who put this out? I don't know the original report. Oh, New York Times. According to them, the relocation occurred within the past month after law enforcement warned of escalating risk tied to two explosive developments. Security concerns reportedly escalated after the U.S. captured Maduro earlier this year. Federal officials believe retaliation threats from cartel-linked groups may have contributed to the heightened security measures surrounding Bondi. Maduro had been indicted by the United States on narco-terrorism charges and was the subject of a record $50 million U.S. reward before American forces captured him in January. At the same time, Bondi's been facing intense scrutiny and political pressure over the DOJ's handling of the Epstein files. Bondi had released all Epstein-related materials in its possession under the Epstein Files Transparency Act. That bombshell dropped names including Nancy Pelosi, Barack Obama, Gavin Newsom, Joe Biden, and over 300 high-profile individuals, blah, 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 blah. Goes into the Epstein stuff, which, by the way, a lot on the Epstein front as well that I got to get to, that I will do in due time. But while this is at top of mind, thinking of the threats, and in particular with what's going on with the synagogue. And by the way, the sheriff there in Michigan is saying that the synagogue suspect is not in custody. And I was, again, basing my assumption on the body language of the officers on scene, as they don't seem to be in a hurry to do anything. It's pretty crazy to see the news, see the Chiron say that the suspect is not in custody, which would have meant, John Bird, he ran his car into the building, jumped out, opened fire, likely set a fire or whatever's burning inside the building, and then somehow got away.
This is organized. I mean, this isn't just, I don't think this is just a crazy going in there.
Yeah. So, and well, and the fact that it's a Jewish synagogue leads you to believe that this is an Islamic terror attack. And what's crazy to me, I could, and maybe I'm overreacting, but I don't think I am. As I was seeing images from the New York governor's office, I actually saw him this morning with Mamdani celebrating the end of Ramadan. I was, as somebody who was, 14, 15, 16 years old when 9/11 happened, and it doesn't really even seem like it was that long ago, although it's, 25 years since it happened.
25 years coming up.
Watching the mayor of New York in the governor's office, in the mayor's office, should I say, celebrating the end of Ramadan, the floor covered in prayer mats, and the office full of Muslims who may very well be great people, very good people. I don't know. I don't know who these people are, but they're in there doing their Muslim prayers on their prayer mats. I thought to myself, man, what a change 25 years can make. It almost feels like, when 9/11 happened and the hijackers, and I'm a 9/11 skeptic just as much as, I'm a 9/11 skeptic with the best of them, right? I think the government was involved. But with what we saw and what we suffered on that day, to see Ramadan celebrations in the New York mayor's office yesterday, one word came to mind, and that word was conquered. Because the goal of these Islamic extremists that commit these attacks and atrocities, whether it's 9/11 or shooting a synagogue or whatever, is what? What is their, even without the attacks, what is their goal? Their goal is to convert the rest of the world.
Yep, and if you don't convert,
and the message that it sends to those individuals that are these, fundamentalist Islamist extremists, that when they see images and videos of a Muslim mayor of New York sitting on a prayer rug, surrounded by other Muslims sitting on prayer rugs in the mayor's office, they got to say to themselves, man, we did it. 25 years after we brought those buildings down, we have conquered New York. And some people will say that's insensitive, that this guy's that's his religion, and he should be able to, practice his religion, which I do believe. Even Muslims should be able to practice their religion in this country. I just thought to myself, the optics are so wild to see. And even so, at one of the 9/11 memorials in New York, it was the New York Fire Department of New York's headquarters. In that headquarters, they have these giant plaques that memorialize the 343 firefighters that died on 9/11, right? It's just out front and it's got their names and everything else. And it's to honor them and say, these guys gave the ultimate sacrifice to save lives on that fateful day. They had in front of that plaque prayer rugs all lined up on the floor. Again, and I'm just telling you what I was feeling when I saw this picture. I thought to myself, what a weird image. What a weird image. It was, you know, call it a sign of disrespect. To me, it's not really my place. It's the firefighters' family's place to say whether or not that's disrespectful. But I kind of think it is. They placed dozens of prayer mats right in front of the plaque that honored those 343. Independent reporter Susan Edelman wrote about the prayer rugs, circulating pictures of them. For context, the FDNY Islamic Society hosted an iftar last week, that's the breaking of the Ramadan fast with an evening meal. The commissioner and Democrat Mayor Mamdani attended. That's the thing I was talking about at the governor's office. Blah blah blah. Apparently, according to New York Republican Councilwoman Joanne Ariola, Ari, Ariel, I don't know how you pronounce her name. Reportedly, had over 20 complaints come to her office from 9/11 first responders and relatives upon learning about the event. One current firefighter said, quote, as someone who respects the sacrifices made by all FDNY members, I believe the Muslim group involved, along with city leadership, including the mayor, showed a real lack of sensitivity. And again, it's the images of it. I'm like, come on, man. 26 years later, 26 years after 9/11, we're looking at New York City, and it looks like this. 205-545-9950. Yeah. Noto Roofing. NotoRoofing.com. NotoRoofing.com. Our roofing guys. Get in touch with them, man. This weather, man, so freaking crappy. Get your hands on a free roof inspection. Don't get up on your roof yourself. Some of y'all got steep roofs. Some of you don't. But either way, your roof's up high, and I don't need none of y'all falling off your roof. Let the pros handle it. The best of the best, as I always say, that's Noto. No strings attached. There's no obligation. There's no trick on the backside where they're like, well, we inspected your roof, so you're going to have to do this. With none of that. They're not trying to BS you, blow smoke up your rear end. These guys are honest. They'll be straight up with you. They get up on your roof. They look around. They see what you got going on. And then they tell you. There have been many times where they've come out to you guys and they gave you the roof inspection and they said, you know what? There's nothing really wrong up there. You know, you don't have any problems. You probably got 3 or 4 or 5 years left on this roof before you even got to consider getting anything new, getting a new roof. And that's why they've got such a good reputation. Not only because they're local and they haven't been bought out by some big conglomerate, but they actually take care of people. And when they do have people they got to work on their roof, they clean up after themselves. They get the job done quickly. They don't interrupt. They do it in a way that doesn't interrupt your life. That's what I love about it. And y'all have heard the story where they did some work on my roof. I wasn't even there for it. I went to work. They got out there and did it. I came home and it was done. Everything was cleaned up. Chris texted me. He said, hey, man, got it done. I got home, looked brand new. I had some wood rot going on. Looked brand new, matched the paint and everything. Did a phenomenal job. So, again, just with the storms that have come through and the crappy weather, get your roof inspected at the very least and then see what you got going on. If you got a small problem up there, that's where the complimentary roof tune-up comes in. They'll fix it right there on the spot. Won't charge you anything. 205-848-2299. That's 205-848-2299. Online, NotoRoofing.com. NotoRoofing.com. Now, a senior law enforcement source is saying that the Michigan synagogue shooter is believed to be dead. That would make more sense than what we heard from the Michigan sheriff, who allegedly said that the shooter's still on the loose. We're now hearing that the shooter is dead. It would be hard to, because in these Islamic terror attacks, they go in there with the intention of dying. So it would make sense that, in fact, the shooter is deceased.